Okay, make sure that you take out a piece of paper so that you can take some notes if you chose not to print out the notes so that you could fill it in as we go along. Today we're going to talk about finding the midpoint, which means the middle of a line segment. So what I will show you how to do by the end of this video is how to find the actual coordinates of C, which is right here, by using a formula. So if we go back to some basics, if we are asked to find the midpoint of a segment, if we look at the red segment, we can cheat a little bit and we can count boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The red segment is 6 boxes long. If we wanted to find the midpoint, which means find the middle is half, way there. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. So if we go 1, 2, 3 from either endpoint, this is our midpoint. If I look at the blue line segment, again, because it is on a grid line and it's vertical, I can count boxes. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes long. So if I wanted to find the middle of 9, I would divide it by 2. I would get 4.5, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and a half from one of the endpoints. And my midpoint of this line segment would be that point right there, which, by the way, those coordinates would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and a half. So that would be 3, 2.5 if you wanted the coordinates. If we look at this example, and this is more of what we would see in a Regents level course, you would be asked to find the midpoint of a slanted line. Now, if we look at this line, it is very difficult to count boxes because we cannot count diagonal boxes. So I have two choices. One is to graph the 2 points, and I could turn it into a triangle, and then I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I know the midpoint, like we said before, if I divide the 8 by 2 and I divide the 6 by 2, I would get a 4 and a 3. So if I count from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's half, and then for this, go 3, 1, 2, 3. This would be my midpoint of that slanted line segment. That gets tricky when you're counting boxes, and sometimes you might make a mistake, so we have a formula. The midpoint formula is what's shown on your screen. Okay? You need to memorize it. Think about when you're thinking about midpoints, is we are talking about the average between 2 points. If you don't remember, or if you've never seen, x1 means 0.1, the x value. x2 means 0.2, the x value. y1 means 0.1, the y value, and y2 means 0.2, the y value. Basically, all we're going to do is add the two x values together and divide by 2. We have to put a comma because it's a point. So remember, a point is always x, y, an x value and a y value in parentheses. And we're going to add the y values together and divide by 2. So we're taking the average of the x and the average of the y. So let's try the first example. It says, what are the midpoints of a line segment whose endpoints are 3, -4, and 5, -1? So the first thing, if I see the word midpoint, I'm going to write the formula. x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. If you need to, this is 0.1, so this is x1 y1. This is, the second point is point 2, so that's x2, y2. All we're going to do is substitute these values here and here into the formula. So my x1 value is 3, my x2 value is 5, divide by 2. My y1 value is -4, my y2 is -1, and I divide by 2. Now it's two little math problems. 5 plus 3 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. -4 plus -1 is -5, divided by 2. So my midpoint, 8 divided by 2 is 4. This we can leave as -5/2. Or if you wanted to, you could call this -2.5. Very important. You have to have parentheses. You have to have a comma. It is a point. Let's try another example. It says, what is the midpoint of a line segment whose endpoints are 0, -1, and -7, -3? Again, it says midpoint, so vocabulary is important. Remember, midpoint is in the middle. It's like the average. So x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. We're going to label our points. This is point 1, so that's x1, y1. This is point 2, so x2, y2. Plug them in. x1 is 0, x2 is -7. y1 is -1, y2 is -3. Once we fill the points, the values into the equation or the formula, we're adding -7 over 2. This is -4 over 2. We can simplify if we want. We can leave that as -7 over 2, -2. Or if you wanted to, you could say -3.5, -2. If you have any questions, please write them down and ask me.